Hello mga kabalaod. I want to start this vlog by saying Rene was not an investment. He was a son who chose to love his family. As a backgrounder, may follower ako na nag-send sa akin ng isang post ng isang babaeng vlogger na at ang sabi ay naging investment daw ng pamilya Bartibonia si Rene Clerc. At kawawa daw ito sa reason na yan dahil nga daw ito ang dahilan kung bakit siya ay napunta sa Ateneo. At yun nga daw, 7 ang anak ng parents niya. First off, I respectfully and strongly disagree with the idea that because Rene came from a family with 7 children, we should automatically question his parents' decision to have a big family or assume that Rene was made to carry the family's financial future. I think that completely misses the point. The narrative of the family was never pinag-aral namin si Rene para maging investment namin. The narrative was lahat ng trabaho pinapasukan nila para maitaguyod ang pamilya. And there's a world of difference between forcing a child to become the family's financial instrument and raising a child who naturally understands his family's struggles and willingly chose to help. Hindi kasalanan ng magulang na pinalaki nilang family-oriented ang anak nila. Hindi kasalanan ng isang ina na may anak siyang marunong umunawa. Hindi kasalanan ng isang ama na may anak siyang kusang tumutulong. Hindi kasalanan ng magkakapatid na nagtutulungan sila. At hindi kasalanan ni Rene kung pinili niyang suportahan ang kanyang pamilya. He was never given that responsibility. He chose to be a responsible son. Doon sa mga taong nagtatanong at nag-a-assume for instance na si Rene ay nahirapan dahil nagiging investment siya ng parents niya. May tanong ako. Nakita ba natin si Rene na malungkot? Nakita ba natin siyang nagsasabing ayaw niya sa ginagawa niya? Nakita ba natin ang buong usapan nila ng kanyang pamilya? Nakita ba natin kung ano ang nangyayari behind closed doors? Kung hindi, bakit natin ipipilit ang interpretation natin sa buhay niya? Maybe Rene was not thinking kailangan kong maging investment ng pamilya ko. Maybe he was just simply thinking may pagkakataon na makatulong ako sa mga kapatid ko, gagawin ko. And honestly, that is not exploitation. That is love. Freely giving what you can give to your loved ones. 7 ang anak. So what? I have a serious problem with the way the discussion about Rene's family has suddenly become a discussion about family planning and parental choices. Yes, having children comes with responsibility. Yes, parents must provide for your children. Yes, parents should not make children responsible for debts they never agreed to carry. But having 7 children is not by itself evidence of irresponsible parenting. We should understand that. Hindi numero ang anak o hindi numero ng anak ang sukatan ng pagiging mabuting magulang. I know that because I'm also a parent now. There are families with 1 child who fail miserably. There are families with 7 children who raise them with extraordinary love, sacrifice, discipline, and solidarity. So, parenting is not mathematics. And poverty is certainly not proof that a family should not have existed. Hindi naman pinili ng mga magulang ni Rene na maging mahirap. What they apparently did choose was to work, sacrifice, what else? To provide for their children. And that deserves context, not condemnation. We need to understand that may mga anak na kusang loob na tumutulong. And this is something I fear some people are forgetting. There are sons and daughters who do not look at their parents and say, hindi ko na responsibilidad kayo. Choice ninyo ang magkaroon ng anak. There are children who will say, mahirap ang buhay, tutulungan ko kayo. Mahal ko kayo mga magulang ko. Not because their parents demanded it, not because they were threatened, not because they were turned into investment, but because they love their family. Some children understand hardship early. They see their parents working. They see their younger siblings. They understand that life is difficult. And they think, kung kaya kong tumulong, bakit hindi? And that is not necessarily oppression. Most of the times, that is compassion. And please, let us not teach the next generation that helping our parents is automatically a form of exploitation. Here, there is a dangerous message hidden in that kind of thinking. Imagine you tell a child, your parents chose to have you, therefore you owe them nothing. Legally, morally, and emotionally, that is an oversimplification of family life. Of course, parents cannot demand the children sacrifice their entire lives for them. But neither should we shame a grown child who voluntarily chooses to help his parents and siblings. There is nothing inherently wrong with saying, I want to give up. I want to give back. There is nothing shameful about saying, I want my younger siblings to have a better life. There is nothing wrong with saying, I cannot enjoy everything while my family is struggling. It is a personal choice. And Rene had the right to make the choice. Huwag nating tanggalin si Rene o tanggalan ng karapatan na piliin ni Rene kung paano niya mamahalin ang pamilya niya. I know this because many Filipino families live this reality. Maraming panganay ang tumutulong, maraming anak ang nagpapadala ng pera, maraming magkakapatid ang nagtutulungan, maraming anak ang nagsasakripisyo hindi dahil pinilit sila, kundi dahil gusto nila. May mga anak na breadwinner, may mga anak na nagpapaubaya, may mga anak na nagsasabing, ako muna, tutulungan ko muna kayo. At hindi ibig sabihin na masama ang kanilang mga magulang. Hindi ibig sabihin na ginamit sila. At lalong hindi ibig sabihin na dapat sisihin ang kanilang mga magulang dahil hindi sila nag-family planning ayon sa standards ng isang taong hindi naman bahagi ng kanilang pamilya. Hindi lahat ng sakripisyo ay exploitation. Remember that. Hindi lahat ng pagtulong ay obligation. Hindi lahat ng responsibilidad ay ipinipilit. Some responsibilities are chosen because we care, because we love. And here is where I agree with one thing of the post of the vlogger. Sabi niya, facts matter. Absolutely. If Rene was mistreated, prove it. If he was discriminated against, investigate it. If there was institutional negligence, establish it. If someone abused power, hold that person accountable. If there was a failure to protect a child or a student, find out who failed and why. But then, let's apply that same principle consistently. Let's focus on facts, not assumptions. Hence, if we do not know the family's private conversations, don't invent them. If we do not know that Rene felt exploited, do not declare that he was. If we do not know that his parents forced him to choose Ateneo, don't turn that into established fact. And if we do not know the full circumstances surrounding his decision, let us not speak for Rene. Because perhaps the very person we are supposedly defending would disagree with the story we are creating about him. And yes, class matters. This is where I disagree with the attempt to completely remove socioeconomic circumstances from the discussion, saying, do not automatically make the poor the victim, is correct. But saying poverty and class have nothing to do with power would also be naive. In fact, I asked my followers a day after the interview on Tony Talks if they can ever relate to the feeling of Rovelyn Bartimonia that since they are poor, they are not respected. And guess what? All of those who commented, 229 of them said yes. Mga kabalaod, we live in a society where wealth, social status, institutional connections, and access to power can affect how people experience systems. That does not mean poor equals automatically right and rich automatically wrong. No. It means we must be willing to ask who had power, who was vulnerable, who had the duty to protect, and what did the institution do when something went wrong. That is not class warfare. That is accountability. And let's ask another uncomfortable question. If this had happened to the child of an extremely wealthy and politically powerful family, would the institution, the Ateneo de Manila University, would have been exactly the same? I mean, would the institution, the Ateneo de Manila University, respond exactly the same? Would the same indifference have been shown? Would the same explanations have been accepted? Would the same family have had to fight this hard to be heard? I do not know to. I do not claim to know the answer. But I believe it is a legitimate question precisely because our society has repeatedly shown that power and privilege can affect how institutions respond to people. So let us investigate that too. Not because Rene was poor, but because every Filipino deserves equal protection regardless of status. And to Rene's mother, let her grieve. Let her ask questions. Let her be angry. Let her demand answers. Let her fight for her son. She lost her child. She does not need a lecture about why she should have had fewer children. She does not need strangers explaining to her that her son was supposedly an investment. She does not need someone rewriting the relationship between mother and son based on assumptions. What does she need? She simply needs answers. And if there are people or institutions that failed Rene, they need to answer. So no, I will not accept the idea that 7 children is the problem. The problem is not that a mother had 7 children. The problem is not that siblings wanted to help one another. The problem is not that a son understood his family situation. The problem is not that Rene may have wanted an opportunity that could also benefit his brother. On the contrary, the problem is what happened to Rene. That is where our attention should be. Let us not transform a grieving family's story into a morality play about family planning. Let us not confuse love with exploitation. Let us not confuse sacrifice with abuse. Let us not confuse family solidarity with parental irresponsibility. And most importantly, let us not take away Rene's benevolence by telling him after his death that he could not possibly have chosen to love and help his family. Maybe he was not carrying a burden. Maybe he was carrying love. And perhaps that is something we should understand before we judge. Because in many Filipino families, including many families from Mindanao, we help because we understand. We give because we care. We sacrifice because someone sacrificed for us. We rise because we want our family to rise with us. That is not always a burden. Most of the times, that is home.